Hi, I'm Gary West for NCTV 45, and this is another segment of Focus NC. My guest today is Joanne Esposito. She has a wonderful story that we want to share with you today of hope, inspiration, and courage. Welcome, Joanne.
Hi, Gary. Nice to be here.
Good to have you here. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time now. And before we talk about this very special story, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I just turned 65 this past January.
Oh, you revealed your age. Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? It's important because, when you're diagnosed, the birthdays are important. But we have two children. I'm married to my husband, Andy Esposito, and he is a teacher at Newcastle High School. He's been there for 45 years. We have two sons. Our son Brad lives in Tampa. He's a pharmacist, and he's married to a beautiful girl who's a pathologist there at St. Joseph's Hospital. And Brian, who lives in Las Vegas with his wife Lana, and he has two children, Sasha and Simone, and they're the joys of our life. And Andy's talking about retiring this year coming, and so we're at that stage of our life, and life is good.
What do the grandkids call you and your husband?
Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh, you're traditional.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I like the traditional.
That's good. That's good. Well, Joanne was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, that's breast cancer, March of 2003. And I know, Joanne, your doctors were quoted as saying there's no cure for stage 4 cancer.
No.
They told you can live with cancer or you can die with cancer. And you knew you were ready to fight.
I was. I can remember telling my husband, because when you hear those words, you automatically, it's like somebody hit you in the head, and you just don't know how to react. And when you wake up in the morning, you just think it was a bad dream. And I can remember telling my husband that I'll give it as much as I can. I said I'll fight as hard as I can. And I've been very fortunate with my diagnosis and the people that have been involved in helping me to get to the point that I'm at today.
Yeah, and then the treatments began with the chemotherapy, and then also this very special drug called Herceptin for estrogen-positive cancer. And I wanted you to tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean? Did the doctors tell you how that works?
Well, initially I was diagnosed. Initially, they didn't even know it was breast cancer. I went through tests and scans and biopsies and so forth. Then they determined that it was breast cancer, and we were told that it could possibly be HER2 positive. HER2 positive, everyone carries the HER2 gene, but mine was overexpressed, and it ended up it was HER2 positive, it was estrogen positive, and there was a drug created by Dr. Dennis Slayman called Herceptin to shut down those HER2 genes, the overexpression of those genes. And found out that Dr. Slayman grew up here in Newcastle on the south side of town, and Herceptin was considered the biggest breakthrough in breast cancer treatment in 60 years, and I happen to be a candidate for that drug. It affects about 25 to 30% of breast cancer patients.
So only certain patients can
HER2 positive patients.
can take this Herceptin.
Right. HER2 positive.
And so you were surprised to learn that this Herceptin treatment had been researched and developed by, as you mentioned, Dr. Dennis Slayman, who is in California now, and has been there many years, but he's from Newcastle.
He grew up here in Newcastle on the south side of town. He graduated from Newcastle High School in 1966. And who knew that one day he was going to help save my life and hundreds of thousands of women. Right.
How did you find out about Dr. Slayman?
Well, my brother-in-law grew up with him on the south side of town. He's a cardiologist, and when I was diagnosed, we gathered all the information that I had, because at the time my liver, the disease had metastasized to my liver. I knew my life was in jeopardy, so once I had seen 2 different oncologists in Pittsburgh, and trying to make a decision because one wanted to treat me in one manner, the other one wanted to treat me in another manner. So I had to make a decision, and that's when we called Dr. Slayman, and he then asked to have a FISH test done on the tumor site, and that was how they determined whether I was HER2 or not, and it ended up I was.
You called it a FISH test?
It's called FISH,
And
F-I-S-H.
it stands for something.
It does, and please don't ask me what those
That's
words
okay.
are.
That's
They're
okay.
about this long, the words, but
I'm sure there's so many tests involved in what you have been going through.
well, that was the most important one, because had I not been able to receive the Herceptin and I was HER2 positive, I don't know that I'd be sitting here today. So we put a call into him, and this is, he recommended that, and he said, go with the doctor that wants to give you the chemotherapy, the radiation, and the whole 9 yards. And that's what we did. And
it's a combination of chemotherapy and Herceptin, right?
it was initially,
You mean now it's just Herceptin?
now it's just Herceptin and Perjeta. That I've gone through this 3 times. My cancer has reoccurred 3 times. It has reoccurred twice. My initial diagnosis was in '03. I had chemotherapy and Herceptin, radiation. I had a couple surgeries. I had a liver resection. I had my ovaries removed, and that took about a year. And I was good for 4 years. And then after 4 years, it occurred in my spine. It was still breast cancer, but I had tumors in my spine. Again, I went through chemotherapy and radiation. I have never stopped taking Herceptin. I've been taking Herceptin every 3 weeks. I go for infusion. And this last time, I was good for 4 years again, and this last time it reoccurred in my liver again. Went through more chemotherapy, radiation to the liver this time, which they were not able to do the first time. And they have added a new drug, which is again developed by Dr. Slayman's research team, called Perjeta. And in combination with the Herceptin, they're getting wonderful results. And my last scans were good.
That's so good to hear. And we got more to talk about with Joanne Esposito and her just remarkable journey. So part number 2 will be coming up tomorrow here on NC TV 45, and this is Focus NC.